Coach's Show, take 2. I'm doing the sound check and we'll get to it. Not picking up anything yet. Okay, here we go. We're good, okay. And, welcome to the San Diego Crusaders Coach Show. I am the coach, Coach Bac2Bragg, Coach Cristian, whatever, whichever name you wanna use. Basic format's pretty basic for those who don't know. We have 10 questions that we have been asked, lined up, but other people can send in questions in the chat, and then I answer them. Pretty simple. Usually we only do 10 questions, but if we're in a good if we're on a roll, we just keep going. So let's get that first question. Today's episode is brought to you by Bac2Bragg Gaming. Check out their new series, ROH 2K20. Anyway, first question is, what's the deal with Wakefield? Yeah, Wakefield didn't have a great game. He had a very bad game. The worst game of his season. 3 interceptions. Only 200 some yards. It's not his best. There's a couple of things that could have been the reason, and for that reason, I don't want to say this or that is the reason, and I don't want to speculate. But I mean, you know, people always have bad days, and whatever they do, whether it's sports or life or dealing with health issues. Prayers to all those affected by the coronavirus, by the way. Yeah, it was just I'm gonna just say it's just a bad game. I got some stuff in my pocket, so to speak, on sorry, I don't know what that was. Some things we're gonna try to make sure that doesn't happen again. Yeah, probably not the best answer, but that's the answer you're getting. What's the next one here? It's, why did you replace Green Bay's defensive playbook with Baltimore's? Alright, as many of you know, we, the coaches, are allowed to pick 3 playbooks to go into the season with, and mid-season we can switch out one offensive and one defensive, and we switched out Green Bay's playbook for Baltimore's. The reason we got rid of Green Bay is it's very similar to Washington's, which we also have. Our 3 defensive playbooks going into the season was the Jets, Washington, and Green Bay. Like I said, Washington and Green Bay's are both very similar, so we wanted to get rid of one of those. The Washington defense has done much better, so that's why Green Bay's got the boot. So the reason we picked up Baltimore's is better answered why we didn't take it in the first place. And I wasn't too hot on the 4-4 formations that playbook has, but the Jets defensive playbook, same situation. Both have the 4-4, and the 4-4 works pretty well. Plus, I think the Baltimore playbook will give us some things we're missing in certain situations and against certain teams. So, I mean, that's why. That's why. Waiting for the next question. and it's nice that this is actually working this time, unlike last week. All right, how do you think each of your new playbooks will do? Well, I'm hoping they both work very well. It'd be nice if they worked so well that it's a no-brainer to pick them every week. FYI, the new offensive playbook is Tampa Bay's. We bounced Oakland's playbook for Tampa. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get around to testing either of those playbooks in the preseason, which is, where you test playbooks, because you don't pick your playbook till right before the regular season starts, and preseason's your chance to test it. And then if you look up top here, you see like the Colts or the Jaguars. If you get one of these NFL games, that's your chance to test out stuff and just make sure you don't let the game go to an end unless it's a forced win, pretty much. So you just sim until you win, and when you do that, you can test playbooks out. Unfortunately, strategically wise, we didn't have any of those games in the first half of the season, so there was nothing we could test. We couldn't test anymore. So any new playbook, we're gonna have to find a good chance to test them out, or so week 19 or week 9, just get this out there. Consider that, not to go into details, but every NFC team has to play out their first NFL game like a real game, but it doesn't air. Just think of it like 2 leagues having teams play each other. They count, but TV rights, no one can air the game. So we can't test the game on week 9. So we can hold it in our pocket and wait for week 13. And that's kind of the issue. Do we test it on week 9 against a team we should beat, but then we should have beat the Condors? And you see the score, they doubled up on us. If I'm not mistaken, the Jaguars have the same overall rating. And so when we play them, it's not really the best testing situation. But then on the other hand, we should be good enough to beat that team. If we want to be a playoff team, we should be good enough to beat this. And it's not the Jaguars, by the way. These aren't like the actual NFL teams. The rosters are totally different. But yeah, we should be able to beat that team if we feel we're good enough to make the playoffs, whichever playbook we use. So we do have a decision whether to test it out week 9 and then have them ready for these 2 games, week 11, week 12, against the mighty Thunderbird and the mystery of the Snowhawks. They're back to full strength. Overall, they're a really good team. Their defense gave up quite a few points to us, but I mean, your offense is clicking, which their offense has ability to do now. You keep the other team's offense off the field, so then there's a situation there. So we want to figure out. So the question is, do we want to risk week 9 for more options for week 11 and week 12? And then week 13 we can test stuff out. But by then, let's go look at our schedule. Thunderbirds and Snowhawks, huge games against tough opponents. Then we have Then we only have, we only have two more RFL games. So we got 4 RFL games left. 3 forced wins in the Colts, Titans, and Texans, and then this weird situation. It's kind of cool but kind of not. But yeah. So, question is, are we going to wait till week 13 to test out these playbooks just for these last 2 games and hopefully playoffs? Or do we test them against the Jaguars, the fake Wars, so we have more tricks up our sleeve against these 2 teams? So that's the question we have to answer. And as much as I hope those playbooks do well, I mean, we're not going to know until we use them. I can't. So that's one of the decisions we have to make this week. We have quite a few decisions to make this week after the last 2 games. But yeah, I'll stem this question off, and we can go on to the next one. Go ahead and put that up. Anytime. Anytime. What are your thoughts on your last opponent, the Condors? That on the actual team, they don't have very good defense. They have a really good offense. But I mean, they shouldn't have been able to do what they did to us. They came out, scored quick. I think that might have rattled our team. I feel like our team kind of gets in a mode where they feel like they have a game won or they're gonna win a game. They kind of chill a little too much, and then the opponent starts being able to catch up or pull away. So yeah, all due respect to the Condors, like, they won a game they shouldn't have won. They made the other game against them closer than it should have been. I hope they do well this week against the Snowhawks, because now with these 2 losses these last 2 weeks, the Snowhawks and Elks are on their butt. Jeez. And we didn't sweep the Condors. Like, the only out of the 3 division teams, division rivals, we're always going to root for the Elks probably, because we swept them. So we have a tiebreaker against them. So, like, it's kind of like we have a little extra room with them. But I mean, it all depends on the situation. And I'm kind of getting off track with of the point, so to speak. So let's get to the next question. That's another reason we need to make these a little earlier, because it's getting late and my brain's starting to shut down. What is up between you guys and Brooklyn Barrens? Well, I think it started in week 1. We were playing the Elks, and in the comments, the Barrens coach made a remark about, I hope we don't put 100 up on us. And that, I think that just set off a lot of backhanded and sly trash talk. And then closer it came to the week, our game day, it blew up. And then we played the game. I think y'all know how I feel. I know he doesn't like the way I feel about that game. I said it was a fluke. But all due respect to his team, it's more that game than maybe like another matchup against them, though I do want another matchup against them, which hopefully will be in the playoffs. But I mean, it's possible we don't play each other for another 3 years, because right now we're playing everyone in their division, and then when you don't play a team like a whole nother division, you only play like one team from the other divisions in your conference, if that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, so if we played again, I mean, it's really not the best marker of whether that was a fluke. When I say it was a fluke, I mean we were up 17-3, I believe, maybe 17-0. I think it was 17-3. We were around their 10-yard line, looking to score again, and we ran a QB draw for some reason, and then Wakefield fumbled the ball, and it got picked up, and not just a turnover, they ran it for a touchdown. So we gifted them 7, and then later in the game, respect to them, they got the sack on us, and Wakefield fumbled on that sack, and we gave them the ball on our own 7. They have a good offense. You can't fault you can't fault our defense too much for giving up 7 on that. So we pretty much gave them 14 points right there, and then I think that put pressure on the offense, Wakefield in particular, and we're trying to get him to handle pressure, like not pressure from being blitzed, but like the pressure of the game on his shoulders. He seems to be let that shake him some. He does seem to shake it off and then get back in a groove. The first Condors game is a perfect example. But yeah, he throws 2 picks. I think one was a pick 6, and the other one might have been a pick 6 as well. If not, it gave him good field position. So, like, I mean, they had to have put laid the hit on Wakefield to get the fumble that they returned for a touchdown. They had to get the pressure on to get the sack that was a fumble, to get them the ball at R7 and score. They scored. I mean, being 7 yards from the end zone isn't a guaranteed touchdown. And they made 2 good picks. But it all started with that first what the heck play, and I think if we don't run that QB draw that led to a fumble, we win that game. Like, I think we put 24 points up on the board that quick, and I think they crumble. And I think we at least hold them off until a win. But yeah, that's kind of led to it, because he hates when I say, he just hates the word fluke now. So yeah, it's one of those weird out of division rivalries. It's a conference rivalry, what it is. And hopefully we get to play each other again in the playoffs, and then maybe again in next season when our one NFC North game. So yeah, let's get on to the next question. Why did you replace Oakland's offensive playbook with Tampa's? Alright, so it's like the defensive. So, what I liked about Oakland's offensive playbook is it had the most sets, which I feel leads to more chances of a mismatch and giving the other team more looks, so they can't predict what's going to happen. Problem with the Oakland playbook, I think it was the Diablos game we ran with that. They have a bunch of plays where 2 receivers end up next to each other, like within 5 yards. And when you have 2 receivers within 5 yards, you have 2 defenders within 5 yards of both receivers. So it's like you're letting the other team double team 2 of your receivers with only 2 defenders. And that led to 2 picks, and it also led to some almost picks. And it definitely led to batted balls, which is just a waste of play. So that was enough. I mean, I didn't see that in the preseason when we ran with that playbook. It did pretty well, but I never saw these 2 receivers running next to each stuff. So yeah, we can't risk running that kind of mess again. And then we picked the Tampa playbook. Someone recommended it. One of my assistant coaches was like, yeah, forget the playbook I suggested. let's go with Tampa. So, boom, that was 2 people went with Tampa, and I was cool with Tampa. So we went to Tampa. It was another playbook we didn't get to test. So it's another thing. It's, like I was saying earlier, now we have to decide whether we're going to test that against this one fake NFL team, or are we going to wait till week 13? We got a little bit of time to make that decision, so we'll probably let you know next week what we did. Or will we? Bum, bum, bum. Why no trades? It wasn't for lack of trying. There was a couple of teams we talked to. I mean, there was only like 2 things we wanted. And it just didn't happen. Trades aren't the easiest thing to work out in this league. It's not like playing Madden where you just gotta get the freaking trade center to agree or whatever. Yeah, I was gonna try to show you an example, but available. I can't even show you that anymore. But yeah, we tried to make trades. We just couldn't get one to work out, unfortunately. So we're running with what we got, and any possible free agents, which there are free agents we're looking at. So, what did you think of your defense last game? They started off super slow. Until I made the switch of Mulback and Sanchez Clay, we were in trouble. I mean, I think I got the switch in on a drive right around our 30, and they were able to finish the drive. After that, their scoring went down. I'm not sure, or their offensive scoring went down. I'm not sure if that was because of the switch, or maybe they changed the defense up some. I mean, the offense up to where it was like went from trying to score to just trying not to turn the ball over or give the game away. But yeah, that's kind of led to some more questions that we need to answer. And we will. I mean, tomorrow is the day to answer those questions we have, and hope we answered right. We'll see. We'll see how the season goes. What's the new airtime? Ah, yes. All right, like we announced on social media, we want to change the airtime, try to get more viewers, because we have a lot of RFL has a lot of East Coast fans, I think. So we want to make it a little better for them to watch. So we ran a poll, and the results of it said for us to move the show between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 to 12 Pacific Standard Time. So then we had to pick a time between 1 and 3. So the time we chose is 2:45 every Tuesday is the San Diego Crusaders coach show. We will put that up on social media as well, and hopefully it's a time that works good for everybody. Get more questions from you guys. It'll be a little harder for me because I do get to view what the possible questions coming from Bac2Bragg are. So anyway, yeah. So hopefully, yeah, that helps us get more views, and yeah. All right. So anywho, what question are we up to? Number 9. So this is going to be the last question. What is our last question? Oh, we were so close to getting out of here without good old wrestling Trump. How about that Barrens game? Well, going back to the Barrens, well, they didn't play this week. I'm not sure they played the week before. Yeah, they played the week before, I think. But yeah, so I can't skew what I think Wrestling Trump is asking. I know what he's asking. He's asking about the week 2 game. Hey man, I covered that a little bit earlier on the question about what's up with us and what our team's deal is with the Brooklyn Barrens and our rivalry. But I kind of lost my train of thought there. It's late, so we'll see how better I think at 2:45 Eastern Standard Time. What is that? 11? Yeah, 11:45. So right before lunch. Anyway, yeah, that game still hurts us, especially after those last two. Now Snowhawks have their stuff back, or have all their players back. So we get the division real quick. We're up 4-4. Snowhawks half game back. Elks really more like a game and a half back because they can't just tie us. And then the Condors are what, 1.5 games back? So the division's gotten real tight all of a sudden, and it would have been nice to get that Barrens win, especially the way we lost it. So anyway, that's the 10 questions. And we'll call it a night. I wouldn't say it's my best thinking episode. Definitely tripping over my words and whatnot. But yeah, we will check our social media on Facebook, Twitter. If you have access to the RFL Discord, or the Bac2Bragg Discord, they talk about their Crusaders on there. Yeah, just look for San Diego Crusaders and RFL. You'll see the Reimagined series logo probably. What? Stretch this out for another minute? Okay, we're trying to end at 30 minutes exactly. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, thank you for watching, those who are watching, live or delayed. Oh, be safe, by the way. Stay home. Get your social distancing. It's alright to wear a face mask. I know they say some of those masks aren't 100%, but, it's better to be 50% safer than 0% safer. But yeah, alright, stay safe, like and subscribe, and turn on notifications and all that stuff. Peace.